Guys, we're at the end of the series and I'm torn. I'm so ready to scream about what happens next, but I'm also low-key grieving the fact that it's over. To recap, we did deep dives volume 1 and 2 of P&P GenZfied style. We laughed at Mr. Collins' absurdity, we did quietly for Darcy's success, and admired Elizabeth's character while judging her misjudgment. Now for the payoff. The slow burn is finally bursting into flames, we get a confession like no other, a conversation between Elizabeth and Lady Catherine, Darcy's aunt, that changed everything, and a satisfying ending. Are you ready? Welcome back everyone to Let's Talk Books with Iman. I'm Iman, obviously, med student 21 from Tunisia, and you know what I'm going to say next. I can't shut up about books. I can't express my opinion with a simple yes, no, or maybe. I need to write a multiple-page essay. And I'm just glad you're here to keep me company while I rant. Without further ado, this is Pride and Prejudice GenZfied Part 3. Elizabeth is set to go with her aunt and her uncle, the gardeners, to Pemberley, Darcy's residence. Elizabeth is standing there admiring the view, the furniture, the taste, the space, all of it, and thinking to herself, damn, I fumbled the bag so hard, this could have been mine. Hello? Darcy? Dear, I changed my mind. I'm just kidding, she doesn't say that. She does though, dwell on what she missed out on. But she mentally backpedals by going, it's fine, he would never allowed me to invite my embarrassing relatives anyway. Girl, just say you're coping. She desperately needs to convince herself that Darcy is a bad man. And who can blame her? She can't support the pain the thinking otherwise would bring. But her view of him starts to shift as she speaks to his housekeeper, but she had nothing but praise for her master, Mr. Darcy. And Lizzy is just standing there, trying to conceal her astonishment. Then, as they are touring the estate, Darcy enters the villa. Ding, 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 ding. Imagine, guys, how embarrassing it is. You tell the woman you want to marry, you love her. The worst she can say turns out not to be no, but ew, get away from me, you disgust me. And then she shows up at your house to admire it. And Mr. Darcy is standing there like, I want to get over you, but please tell me my letter changed your feelings about me. I want to hope, but I'm afraid to. And Lizzy is just blushing in the corner, daydreaming about how much of a great guy he is. Well, actually, it may just be me, but she starts warming up to him and to his newfound civility. What's hilarious is how Jane Austen is describing this whole thing like it's a full-on emotional meltdown, when really, knowing the period, it's probably something tiny. Like Lizzy twitched an eyebrow or looked down for half a second, and Jane Austen is like, the embarrassment is showing on her like a stain on a white t-shirt. They are joined at Pemberley by Mr. Bingley and his sisters. After a morning visit, Miss Bingley turns to Mr. Darcy and starts criticizing everything about Lizzy, from her nose, the way she dresses, her hair, her skin complexion, trying to provoke a reaction out of Mr. Darcy. And Darcy is just sitting there like Joey from Friends saying, never hit a woman, never hit a woman. And then he breaks and is like, I'm not gonna let this B-word disrespect my Lizzy like this. And says, it is many months now since I have considered her as one of the handsomest women of my acquaintance. Yes, take that, Miss Bingley, you hater. I don't understand Miss Bingley's stupidity. How can she think that talking badly about Lizzy to Mr. Darcy would make him think, you know what, dear Miss Bingley, you've opened my eyes to how horrendous she is. Thank you. I choose you now. Jane Austen said it in the best way possible. Angry people are not always wise. In the midst of this tension and Liz's revelation about her feelings, she gets a letter from her sister Jane. Our silliest sister has eloped. Yes, guys, I know, what a scandal. Remember, guys, last video I told you that Lydia will become the center of our story, and she has done it by fleeing with a certain man in the name of love. Can you guess who it is? I'll give you a moment to think about it. It is none other than Mr. Wickham. Yes. The Mr. Wickham, who turned out to be deprived of basic decency and morality. Lizzy breaks down in front of Mr. Darcy and is thinking to herself, if he thought ill of my family beforehand, what would he think now? And during this chaos, Lydia is just in cloud nine. The letter she left is so tone deaf. She was like, hey girlie, I'm giggling writing you this because believe it or not, I am in love. I'm off to get married. P.S. Don't tell my family. I just think it would be jokes if I wrote to them and signed my name as Lydia Wickham. Oh, and please tell Fred that I'm sorry I didn't dance with him tonight. I'll make it up for him. Like, girl, how can you be this naive? But it really makes us reflect on the lengths that girls will go to because they believe themselves to be in love. I feel that women, when they grow up in a household with little to no attention, and where they are overshadowed by, say, a sister's beauty or another's intellect, which with four sisters, a distant father, and a nagging mother was just Lydia's situation, they tend to seek validation in others, especially in men who promise them the world. Lydia, like so many girls of today's day and age, sacrifices her dignity out of fear of losing that validation. You guys know I love Mr. Bennet, but I can't overlook his part in all of this. Because I believe it to be the father's job to show his daughter how to respect herself, how to raise her standards, and to teach her not to jump in the arms of the first man who thinks her special. I'm so grateful for my father and my own brothers because they show me how a man is supposed to treat a woman. My older brother sometimes takes me out and we have the best time ever. I truly feel like a princess at home, and I can never say Alhamdulillah enough for this blessing. I just want to hug every woman who doubts herself and to tell her not to seek her worth in the eyes of others. Moving on, Mr. Collins, yes, the cousin set to inherit Mr. Bennet's estate after he passes, sends a consolation letter to Mr. Bennet that infuriated me too much not to talk about it. He basically says, sorrows, sorrows, prayers. How disgraceful for you. I mean, her death would have been a mercy compared to this. Like what? And to think I was going to marry your daughter. I dodged a bullet with that one, didn't I? Or I would have had to share this embarrassment with you. I would advise you to cut this unworthy child out of your life. Even Lady Catherine thinks you're screwed and tainted forever. Collins, dear, is this really the time to rub it in their faces? Imagine you're going through the worst time of your life and the least anyone can do is spare you their thoughts and shut up, but instead they add salt to the wound. Now, can you guess how they got Mr. Wickham to marry Lydia despite her lack of fortune and his lack of intentions to do so? Can you? Let me just tell you that a certain gentleman whose last name starts with D and who has confessed his love to a certain Miss Elizabeth is behind the preservation of the Bennet's reputation. Yes, Mr. Darcy is the hero no one expected. He convinced Wickham to marry Lydia by basically bribing him with money and paying off his debts. Love do be making these men put in the work. Guys, this is love, this. A man you can rely on, someone who stands up for you and for your family. This isn't about wealth or beauty, it's the definition of actions speak louder than words do, and Mr. Darcy is making the most noise. Lizzy, honey, what are we doing? Come on, give him a little something. Knowing that it is a 200-year-old book, a glance would do. I'm not asking for much. But Elizabeth finally obliged me when a certain visitor has forced her to admit her feelings and to fight. Lady Catherine, Darcy's aunt, comes to visit Miss Bennet after hearing rumours of her engagement with Mr. Darcy. I'm not going to deprive you of a Gen Z reenactment of this dialogue, but just know that nothing I say is remotely close to the sheer force of chapter 14 of the third volume. You must read it on your own. Lady Catherine starts with, so, I hear that my nephew is engaged to you. I'm here to tell you to back off. He's promised to my daughter. Lizzy says, yo, first of all, calm the F down. I'm not scared of your big dresses and the fancy way you do your hair. Speak with respect. My nephew is not going to stoop low and marry you, poor child. He comes from a respectable place and a union to you would only bring shame to him and to his relations. Besides, his mother and I agreed that he shall marry my daughter. Girl, please. You can't tell me what to do, and you can't force him to do as you say either. I'm not engaged to your nephew, but who are you to tell me to refuse him and deprive myself of a good prospect and marriage? The audacity! You dare refuse my proposal of backing off? You dare think you're powerful enough to influence me? I don't care for titles, lady. You mean nothing to me. And the conversation ends with Lady Catherine pissed off saying, stupid, selfish, girl, you were here for my lawyer. The interaction gave Darcy the push he needed to reintroduce the subject of his affection to Elizabeth upon their next encounter. Because if she really despised him, she would have told Lady Catherine just that. And the way it all unfolded was so beautifully crafted that I can't give it justice, and I won't dare try. I was satisfied. I was happy. The conversation flowed nicely. It felt like the world was healing. She asks him, did you admire me for my impertinence? And he says, for the liveliness of your mind, I did. God, may this love find me one day. And the story ends with Darcy and Elizabeth at last married. Guys, I don't want to move on to the outro. I'm going to miss talking about it. I'm off to reread all of my favourite parts again. Tell me, did you enjoy the series as much as I did? I need to know your thoughts. Leave them in the comments. Let's chat. What should I review next? Should we do another GenZfied series? I recently ordered the Cruel Prince trilogy, so maybe I'll do a series on that. Stay tuned for next week's video. I'll see you soon. Assalamu alaikum. Bye.